Welcome to Hero Villains. In your opinion, what would a battle between Franklin Hall and Doomsday look like? It is a fight between a wielder of supreme power over a fundamental force and a mountain of muscle driven by a primal, blind, yet undying rage. A creature forged through millions of deaths and resurrections. One side represents the fundamental force governing the structure of the universe, the glue that holds galaxies together. The other embodies the pure will to survive, a thirst for destruction, and the infinite adaptive capacity of life itself. Franklin Hall can lift an entire city, create artificial black holes, and bend space-time. Doomsday can punch through reality, kill Superman, and adapt to every form of energy, physical attack, and even cosmic concepts. So, let's begin.
First, Franklin Hall. Graviton, the master of gravity and arrogance. Franklin Hall is a brilliant physicist, a man obsessed with gravity, the weakest of the universe's four fundamental forces. Yet the one with the most significant macroscopic influence, the force that keeps planets in orbit and compresses stars to trigger thermonuclear reactions. During an experiment aimed at manipulating and controlling graviton particles, Hall suffered a catastrophic accident. His physical body was shattered, but his consciousness merged with his own gravitational field. He was reborn not as an ordinary man, but as Graviton, the living embodiment of gravity. However, what makes Graviton so dangerous is not just his power, but the distorted psyche that accompanies it. Franklin Hall is a megalomaniac suffering from severe paranoia and a god complex. He believes he is the pinnacle of evolution, the only entity worthy of ruling Earth and the universe. This arrogance is both the fuel that drives him to use his power to its fullest extent, and the fatal flaw that causes him to frequently make tactical errors. Graviton possesses one of the most terrifying and versatile power sets in the Marvel Universe. His core ability is the manipulation of gravity at both the subatomic and macroscopic levels. He doesn't just make things heavier or fly, he can control the gravitational field of every object within his perception. He can change the mass and weight of matter without altering its physical structure. He can make a pebble as heavy as a mountain or render a skyscraper as light as a feather to lift it into the air. His most famous feat is raising the entirety of New York City or vast landmasses off the ground, turning them into flying fortresses. He can create artificial singularities or black holes by compressing a gravitational field into an infinitesimally small point. Graviton can create black holes with immense pull, swallowing everything, including light. He has used these micro black holes to tear opponents apart or generated incredibly dense gravitational fields to bend the trajectory of energy attacks. According to Einstein's theory of general relativity, the stronger the gravity, the more time dilate. Graviton can create gravitational fields so dense they can slow down or completely halt the flow of time within a localized area. He can also warp space, creating wormholes for instantaneous teleportation, or form impenetrable spatial barriers by bending the space around himself. At the highest level, when in complete control of his power, Graviton can manipulate gravity on a planetary or even stellar scale. He can pull asteroids from space or compress matter to trigger artificial thermonuclear reactions, transforming himself into a living star. Yet, Graviton's power is not without its limits, and these limits lie in his very being. His greatest weaknesses are his physical body and his human mind. Though shielded by protective gravitational fields, Franklin Hall himself is still a man. If his gravitational field is neutralized, or if he is distracted, his body can be harmed by direct physical or energy attacks. Moreover, maintaining and manipulating gravitational fields on a cosmic scale requires extreme intellectual focus. He must calculate and control gravity with his mind, arrogance, and impatience. Graviton often loves to show off his power, savoring the sight of his opponents in despair before delivering the final blow. He frequently spends time monologuing, explaining his own greatness instead of annihilating his enemy immediately. In a life-or-death battle against an emotionless and tireless foe like Doomsday, this arrogance would be his death sentence. Graviton depends on perception and range of influence. He can only manipulate what he perceives. If attacked from an unexpected angle, or with forms of energy, concepts that exceed the processing capacity of a human mind, he will struggle to defend himself. Graviton can create a virtually impenetrable shield shield. This shield not only blocks physical and energy attacks, but also bends their trajectory, causing everything to veer off course. He has blocked punches from Thor, energy blasts from Iron Man, and even psychic attacks, which still require a physical medium to transmit. Although not a psychic by nature, Graviton's power sometimes allows him to create effects that perfectly mimic psychic abilities. By manipulating gravity to affect the neurons or blood flow in an opponent's brain, he can induce unconsciousness, vertigo, or even hallucination. This is an extremely subtle attack. Graviton has single-handedly confronted and defeated the entire Avengers team. And not just once, he has lifted an entire city off the ground, turning it into his personal hostage. He is not just a powerful villain, he is a global-level threat, a conscious and deeply ambitious natural disaster. He was one of the world's top physicists even before gaining his superpower. He understands the nature of the power he wields better than anyone. This means he won't just attack blindly, he will analyze, calculate, and use his power in the most optimal and creative way possible. He won't just throw his opponent aside, he will seek to crush them at the molecular level.
I really hope you'll subscribe to the channel. It would help us out a lot. And you are the most wonderful person. Thank you so much.
Now let's talk about Doomsday, the living nightmare. Doomsday is not a villain with plans for world domination. He is a natural disaster, a primal rage packaged in the form of a colossal, muscular monster with razor-sharp bone spurs. He cannot speak, cannot formulate plans, and knows nothing of the concept of retreat. His sole purpose is the destruction of everything in his path. He was created by Bertron, a mad scientist on the ancient planet Krypton, before Krypton's destruction. Bertron wanted to create a being capable of surviving in the universe's harshest environments. To do this, Bertron produced a genetic clone, cast it into the most brutal wilderness of Krypton, and let it be killed by predators, weather, and disease. After it died, Bertron would clone it again from its residual DNA, but this time, the creature would carry immunity to whatever had killed it before. This process repeated millions of times over hundreds of thousands of years. The creature endured the agony of being torn apart, burned alive, starved, and slaughtered countless times. With every death, it did not merely resurrect. It evolved, carrying with it the primordial hatred and the unspeakable pain of millions of fatal ordeals. Ultimately, the creature reached perfection, broke out of the laboratory, killed Bertron, and began its journey of destruction across the universe under the name Doomsday. He possesses physical strength, speed, and durability at a near infinite level. He fought Superman, a being who can push planets and fly faster than the speed of light, and traded blows with him until both lay dead before Superman's own resurrection. Doomsday's strength has no upper limit. It is only bounded by what he needs to defeat the opponent in front of him. He can punch through space, generating shockwaves with a destructive force of thousands of thermonuclear bombs with a single stomp of his foot. Doomsday's body continuously analyzes and adapts to every form of damage. If he is killed by a blunt force physical attack, like Superman's fist, upon resurrection, he will be completely immune to blunt force physical trauma. If he is burned by fire, he will become immune to extreme temperatures. If he is attacked by energy, such as lasers, magic, or even Darkseid's Omega beams, his body will absorb that energy, convert it into power, and become immune to that type of energy. He doesn't just recover, he evolves to become flawless against the threat. Doomsday possesses infinite stamina and requires no rest. He has no muscles that produce lactic acid, no lungs that require oxygen in the normal biological sense, and no nervous system that knows fatigue. He can fight continuously for months, years, or even centuries without any decline in strength. He absorbs energy from his environment and from the very attacks of his opponents to sustain himself. Doomsday has the ability to adapt to extreme environments. He can survive in the vacuum of space, inside the cores of stars, or even at the source wall, the boundary of the multiverse, a place containing secrets and energies capable of erasing reality itself. His survival and adaptation at the source wall prove that his evolutionary ability can surpass even cosmic concepts. He has punched Superman, a being with planet-moving strength, sent him flying through buildings, and broken the bones of the Man of Steel. Each of his punches carries the weight of hatred accumulated over millions of deaths. His durability is on a similar scale. He withstood Superman's most powerful punches, heat vision that can slice through anything, and countless other energy attacks nearly unscathed. His ashen, gray skin and bony protrusions are harder than any known metal. Every time Doomsday is injured, or even killed, his body automatically regenerates and evolves to become completely immune to the very thing that caused the wound. If you punch him hard enough, he will grow more bone spurs to counter-strike. If you use fire, he will develop a heat-resistant hide. If you try to cut him with an energy blade, the next time, that blade will shatter against his skin. He has adapted to become immune to the power of gods, to psychic attacks, and even to the very concept of death to a certain extent. This is an endless loop, where every attempt to wound him only makes him stronger and harder to destroy. Don't let his colossal frame deceive you. Doomsday is extremely fast. He can move at speeds that catch superheroes off guard, fast enough to keep up with and counter even opponents with super speed. His leaps can carry him for miles, and his combat reflexes have been honed through countless life or death battles. Doomsday does not need to eat, drink, or breathe. He can survive and fight in the vacuum of space indefinitely. He is a completely self-sufficient engine of destruction. However, Doomsday does have weaknesses, though they are very difficult to exploit in direct combat. His greatest weakness is his lack of intelligence and tactics. Doomsday is entirely driven by rage and instinct. He doesn't know how to evade, doesn't use the environment to trap his opponents, and doesn't analyze an enemy's weaknesses in a logical way. He simply charges headlong at the threat and uses brute force to crush it. If an opponent can deceive him or create a situation that sheer muscle cannot resolve, he will struggle. If he is destroyed by an attack so fast or so overwhelmingly powerful that his body has no time to analyze and evolve, if he is completely erased from reality by an omnipotent entity like the Presence or the One Above All, he will die permanently. Furthermore, if he is attacked by something that does not cause damage in the physical or energy sense, for example, being imprisoned in another dimension, having his mind manipulated on a conceptual level, or being stripped of his will to fight, his adaptive mechanism may not be triggered. He has also been defeated by attacks that involve life draining or reality manipulation at a level beyond his biological capacity to adapt. And now, let's get into a direct comparison and battle analysis. This is an incredibly compelling fight, pitting one side with the power to control a fundamental force of the universe against the other, with the ability to nullify any force that has ever wounded him, Graviton. With his ability to manipulate gravity, he can completely control the battlefield. He can instantly increase the gravity on Doomsday millions of times over, attempting to pin him to the ground, or even crush him outright. He can create an inverted gravitational field to hurl Doomsday into space, or generate swirling gravity storms to tear his body apart from every direction. Graviton's sheer power and flexibility at long range are immense. Doomsday, a melee fighter by nature, would face tremendous difficulty even getting close to Graviton, who can fly and conjure countless obstacles. However, this is precisely where Doomsday's true power comes into play. The first time Graviton crushes him with gravity, he would likely be severely wounded, his bones shattered. But he would not die, and as soon as his body begins to regenerate, it will do what it is programmed to do: adapt. Doomsday's cells will begin restructuring at a molecular level to resist that immense gravitational pressure. They will become denser, more resilient, and distribute force perfectly. With each passing second, Graviton's gravity attack will become less and less effective. Doomsday has adapted to similar things before. He has been bound by energy chains and subsequently become immune to them. He has been defeated by energy-based attacks and later developed the ability to absorb or reflect those very energies. Gravity, though a fundamental force, is still a form of physical stress that Doomsday's body can absolutely learn to counteract. Franklin Hall is a genius. He wouldn't take long to realize what is happening. He would see Doomsday steadily adapting, becoming less and less affected by gravity. At this point, Hall would have to rely on his intellect. He might try different approaches. He could attempt to create an actual black hole to swallow Doomsday. But the problem is, Doomsday has survived even harsher conditions. He has been imprisoned at the end of time, where entropy had destroyed everything and still endured. Hall might try a more refined tactic. Instead of attacking the entire body, he could focus all his gravitational power into a single microscopic point, like a needle, to try and puncture Doomsday's skull and destroy his brain. This is a logical tactic and shows the creativity of a scientist, but it too, would only be a temporary solution. Doomsday's brain would also adapt and protect itself, or even develop a backup neural center elsewhere in his body. The fight. Graviton, with the arrogance of a god, would make the first move. He would increase the gravity on Doomsday 1,000-fold. Doomsday roars, his body heavy, the ground beneath his feet sinking deep, but he does not fall. He begins to walk step by step against the crushing force. Graviton, surprised, escalates the force 1,000,000-fold. Doomsday's bones begin to crack. His body is pressed down, but the adaptation process has already begun. His cells are hardening, his skeletal structure rearranging itself to better withstand the pressure. Seeing his direct assault is ineffective, Graviton changes tactics. He gestures, creating a massive inverted gravitational force, catapulting Doomsday into the air and hurling him through dozens of buildings. But mere seconds later, Doomsday bursts from the rubble and leaps, charging straight at Graviton with terrifying speed. A panicked Graviton erects a gravity shield. Doomsday's fist slams into the shield, producing a thunderous explosion that shakes the entire city, but the shield holds. However, Graviton can feel the monstrous force behind the impact. The battle continues in a stalemate. Graviton employs every tactic. He uses debris from buildings as projectiles against Doomsday. He tries to warp the space around him to trap Doomsday in a loop. He even attempts to manipulate the gravity within Doomsday's own bloodstream to cause a stroke. But all of it is futile. Doomsday adapts to everything. He punches through the debris, he tears through the warped space with brute force, and his circulatory system self-regulates to counter the gravitational interference. Desperate and enraged, Graviton focuses all his power into one final attack, creating a singularity, a miniature black hole, right in the center of Doomsday's chest, hoping to devour him from the inside out. But it is at that very moment, as he pours all his power into the attack, that his defensive shield grows weaker. Doomsday, with combat instincts honed over millennia, seizes that split-second opening. He endures the black hole's assault, his body stretched and hideously distorted, but simultaneously, he throws a punch with all his strength and hatred. That punch shatters the weakened gravity shield and connects directly with Franklin Hall's body. And that is the end. There is no adaptation for a normal human body against a punch capable of killing Superman himself. Graviton is obliterated instantly. This is a victory for Doomsday, but not an easy one. Doomsday is not just a destroyer. He is the inevitable conclusion to any war of attrition.
And that is our analysis of the battle between the Master of Gravity and the Ultimate Apocalypse. Let us know your thoughts by leaving a comment below. Do you side with the power of physics and intellect, or the power of evolution and destruction? If you find these epic showdowns compelling, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any future multiverse battles. Follow me if you enjoyed this. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much.